If you'll open your Bibles to John's Gospel, chapter 8. The title of today's Easter message is Listen to the Greatest Philosopher That Ever Lived, Died, and Lived Again. I recently said to my truck driving buddy that I always end up with in conversations with, his CB handle Turkey. His name is John. And I even have permission to use his stories. He said, "Oh yeah, go ahead." I said, "John, I said, I just spend a little bit of time with you and you give me more than enough illustrations for preaching." He laughed. And he said, "That's exactly right." He said, "Use them." He said, "Tell the people how not to live." That's what he said. Tell the people how not to live. And he gave me another illustration this week. It was Wednesday morning. Came into the break room. He goes out and we're walking to our trucks and he's furious. And he is using every cuss word known to man. He lost a really special truck driving tool. And he's a career truck driver, and he lost it. And he knows sort of where he lost it and how it was lost. Problem is, the previous evening, Johnny Stewart had a whole bunch of gravel brought in our truck yard, had it spread with skid loaders, and had the rollers done, and just packed that entire place down as hard as our rock, and somewhere in there is his tool, and it's gone. And he was just livid. And he was cussing God. And then he got to cussing certain people. And then he ended up just cussing, quote, all his adjectives, world. And I waited for him to calm down because I was trying to help. Maybe it's sticking up somewhere. And I said, "Sounds like, John, we need a better world to live in, don't we?" And he stopped and went, just looking at me, and he and I were the same height. And with a few explicatives, but he still said it. Ain't that the truth? We need a better world to live in. Yeah. The 75th anniversary of Animal Farm by George Orwell. Comes with an introduction by Tia Bright. It's very interesting. Tongue-in-cheek, having spent the last 7.5 decades, if you're totally in the dark about what's this, what do you mean? This is an old book, it's a classic, and it's all about a certain man who had a bone to pick with Stalinism and totalitarianism. And he used satire, Animal Farm, how we can have a better farm if the animals will take over. And quite honestly, no, it didn't turn out too well. Anyway, so having spent the last, this is Tia writing the introduction to the 75th anniversary of Animal Farm. Having spent the last 7.5 decades heeding its Animal Farm, heeding its warnings and taking its lessons to heart, we have pulled ahead of the dangers Animal Farm, this is tongue-in-cheek, Animal Farm hinted we might one day face. As a species, we have defied Orwell's wildest expectations. Wouldn't he be thrilled to know that we no longer have need of a text that so explicitly decries authoritarianism, fear-mongering, tribalism, historical erasure, factual manipulation, and war as an engine of national pride? That Animal Farm has served its purpose and is now nothing but a fairy story. Reader, I jest. All evidence points to the fact that we're in a great deal of very familiar trouble the whole world over, that we so dependently manage to be, despite the existence of prophetic works like Animal Farm, should worry us to the point of despair. But this is the way of our species. Memory fades. We grow bored with the lessons of the past. We don't even have to work especially hard to blur the myths we tell ourselves. That the past is not only past, but already ancient history. Things could never get as bad as they once were because, unlike those who came before us, we are good people who know better than to let it happen again. How then are we to read Animal Farm circa 2020? What can we demand of a book that has outlived its own ambitions, yet whose pillars, depressingly, seem as relevant today as they were 3/4 of a century ago? That's her beginning of her very long intro. You see, everyone is a philosopher. Turkey's a philosopher. Sounds like we need a better world, don't we? Ain't that right? Eric Blair, the real name of George Orwell, he's a philosopher. You're a philosopher. I am. Everyone is. Everyone is a philosopher. And the reason why is because everyone has ideas about what they think on how to interpret the world that we live in. Everyone. Everyone has a belief system. Everyone is a philosopher because everyone wants to know what is real, what is true, what is false, what is and what isn't. Even 2-year-olds are philosophers. Take a 2-year-old out back in the woods. They're really getting the English language. They're starting to talk. What dat? That's a tree, honey. What dat? That's a flower. What dat? That's a toad. What dat? That's a bird. What dat? That's the sun. Don't look at it too hard. Even a 2-year-old is trying to understand the world that we live in and how it functions. Everyone's a philosopher. The 4 greatest questions that philosophers the world over, philosophers like you, like me, like 2-year-olds, like George Orwell, like my truck driving buddy. The 4 greatest questions that philosophers the world over have entertained these 4 questions, and they always have. If you took a philosophy course, you're going to hear these 4 questions. Number 1, what is real? And another way, it's asking the same question as what is true. But what is really true? What is really real? And the reason why is because we want to know the truth. I want to know the truth. We all do. You do. You want to know the truth. Second question, how can I know what is real? So once you tell me, and once you say that's a bird, is there any way that I can confirm that? And the reason why is because we want surety. We want certainty. I want to know if I can really know that what you're saying is either true or false. Third question, who am I that wants to know what is real? What's that say about me that I want to know what is real, what is true, what is false? Now I not only am curious about what is outside of me, like a bird, like a flower, but I'm curious about who I am. It's an inward focus. My questioning reveals something about me that I would want to know. What does this say about me and my existence as a person? That I would even care to know what is real, what is true, what is false. And finally, the fourth question. What should I be if I am to be real? If I bump into what is true reality and what is really true, then how should I conform myself to the real world that I'm living in, or the person that is speaking to me, that is speaking the truth to me? I have to change. I have to admit that I cannot escape the choice of being good or being bad, because I now judge everything in this life as either good or bad, virtuous or evil. You will pass 1,000 judgments this week on food, the weather, the news, your employer, that one person that cuts you off. You'll make 1,000 judgments this week. And now that I'm thinking about the kind of person that I am that makes these kinds of judgments, now I wonder, am I able going to live the life that I ought to be living in what is true truth or true reality, and will I be judged? I make judgments every day, so do you. Will you be judged? Will I be judged? I want you to come with me to John chapter 8, verse 12, and listen to the greatest philosopher that ever lived, died, and lived again. His name is Jesus, and he said things that no man has ever dared to say, things that got him crucified, things that got him glorified above all the earth. Verse 12. Again, Jesus spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And I've had the pleasure of taking philosophy courses and apologetics, and I'm telling you, and reading the philosophies of philosophers, world-renowned, dead and alive, and I'm telling you, a verse like that, there is nothing like that ever written by a philosopher. What a punchline for all of humanity. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness. Why? Because I am the light of the world, but will have the light of life. What does that say about who I am? That I want to know the truth. I don't want to live my life in darkness. I want to see the truth. What is the truth? I am the light of the world. You? How dare you say that? Who are you to say that I am the light of the world? No man can talk like that and get away with it, unless he's a nut. And now you're calling me to walk in your light, in your truth, in what is real reality. What happens if I don't? So the Pharisee said to him, you are bearing witness about yourself. Your testimony is not true. You see what they're doing? They're philosophers. That's not true. Jesus answered, even if I do bear witness about myself, my testimony is true. For I know where I came from and where I am going. But you do not know where I came from or where I am going. I have knowledge about myself and I have knowledge about you, but you have no knowledge about me nor yourself, because you are walking in darkness. You judge according to the flesh. I judge no one. Yet even if I do judge, my judgment is true. For it is not I alone who judge, but I and the Father who sent me. In your law it is written that the testimony of two people is true. I am the one who bears witness about myself, and the Father who sent me bears witness about me. And they said to him, therefore, where is your Father? Jesus answered, you know neither me nor my Father. If you knew me, you would know my Father also. These words he spoke in the treasury as he taught in the temple, but no one arrested him because his hour had not yet come, the day of his crucifixion and glorification. So he said to them again, I'm going away, and you will seek me, and you will die in your sin. Where I am going, you cannot come. So the Jews said, will he kill himself, since he says, where I am going, you cannot come? He said to them, you are from below, I am from above. You are of this world, I am not of this world. I told you that you would die in your sins, for unless you believe that I am he, you will die in your sins. I am the God-man. I am the Messiah. You can stop right there, take those 4 questions, and just camp on that all day long. It's amazing how Jesus is helping us to see, to answer the hardest questions that man has ever raised. What is real? How can I know what is real? What's that say about me that I would even care to know what is real? Who am I? And if I found the truth, would I change? I feel like I might be judged if I don't change, if I don't conform to what is truly true. So they said to him, verse 25, who are you? There it is. Who are you? There's no one like Jesus, because no man ever talked like this. Either you are, as C.S. Lewis put it, either he is Lord, or he is a liar or a lunatic. Take your pick. Who are you? Jesus said to them, just what I have been telling you from the beginning. I have much to say about you and much to judge. But he who sent me is true, and I declare to the world what I have heard from him. They did not understand that he had been speaking to them about the Father. So Jesus said to them, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, pointing at his crucifixion, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing on my own authority, but speak just as the Father taught me. And he who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, for I always do the things that are pleasing to him. As he was saying these things, many believed in him. Oh, there's the 4th question. What am I going to do about this? There's the truth. What is really real? He's flesh and blood, and he's already done enough things that ought to make me believe in him, things that no man can do. What's that say about me that I care about this? Who am I? That I would want to know the truth on this level. I think I better do something about it. Question number 4. Because I think I'm going to end up being judged. Well, it sounds like good news. Verse 30, right? Sounds like good news. As he was saying these things, many believed in him. But let's continue to follow Jesus a little bit more, just a little bit more, and listen to him. Did they really believe in him? So we need to stop right here. I really never talk about my quote-unquote, and hold on, my first conversion. Just about everyone in here knows of my story of my salvation in Akron, Ohio, in the summer when I was 11 years old, using Jughead Archie comic book, sharing the gospel. But I really never talk about what happened when I was 8 years old. It was a Sunday night, Calvary Baptist Church. My dad had not announced his call to preach the gospel. Calvary Baptist Church was a one-room log cabin. That was my first church, one-room log cabin church. Outhouses, no indoor plumbing. I can still see it all in my mind. And Reverend Cam Odell, he was a farmer. He'd come to church with bib overalls on and a sports jacket and work boots. And just when he got out of his farm truck, flip that big wad of tobacco in the yard, church lawn, walk inside, and preach. And it was a Sunday night, altar call time. And we're going to give this altar call until someone comes. That's, it's just the way it is. It's just, we're not leaving until someone gets saved. I went forward. I knelt down at the altar. Cam Odell, big skinny man. Huge hands. Laid his hands on my shoulders. Mom and Dad. Then Mom and Dad are beside me. See, I'm doing what I was supposed to do. I was taught that. This is what you're supposed to do. It didn't last. It didn't. I walked out of the door of the church, went on with my life, 8 years old. I really do believe that I was saved when I was 11, that was my real conversion. And it surprised me how the Lord snuck up on me and showed me, you're going to die in your sins. You're going to die in your sins. Well, this is what Jesus is going to do. He's going to show that a lot of times it's not real faith. The verse says, verse 30, as he was saying these things, many believed in him. So Jesus said to the Jews who had believed him, if you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples. Let's put this belief to the test. Let's see if it's genuine and real or not. If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Implication, you're still enslaved to your sin, and you don't even know it. They answered him, we are offspring of Abraham and have never been enslaved to anyone, which is a bold-faced lie. Israel has been enslaved almost her entire history. How is it that you say you will become free? And Jesus answered them, truly, truly. What is real, what is very so real, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The Son remains forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. I know that you are offspring of Abraham, physically speaking, yet you seek to kill me because my word finds no place in you. See, this is the same bunch that says they believed in him up in verse 30. And that's the second time, my word finds no place in you. I speak of what I have seen with my father, and you do what you have heard from your father. And they answered him, Abraham is our father. Jesus said to them, if you were Abraham's children, you would be doing the works Abraham did, and that is faith in God. But now you seek to kill me, a man who has told you the truth that I heard from God. This is not what Abraham did. You are doing the works your father did. And they said to him, trying to change the subject here, it's getting too close to home. What is real? What is really real? And they're being faced with it, and it's getting very hot here. And how do I know what's real? And they're feeling it. This man is talking in a way that no man ever talks. Let's skip the subject. Let's change the subject. Change the subject. We were not born of sexual immorality. What? Where does that come from? They're running. They're running. That virgin story that's been passed around out of Bethlehem, Mary and Joseph, hogwash. We know what really happened. We weren't born of sexual immorality like you were. We have one Father, even God. Who knows how many daddies you got? Jesus said to them, if God were your Father, you would love me, for I came from God, and I am here. I came not of my own accord, but he sent me. Why do you not understand what I say? I'll answer my own question. It is because you cannot bear to hear my word. That's the third time. You are of your father, the devil. I'll tell you who your real daddy is. It's Satan. And your will is to do your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth because there is no truth in him. There's no real reality. When he lies, he speaks out of his own character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. But because I tell the truth, you said you wanted to know the truth, and I'm telling you the truth. But because I tell the truth, you do not believe me. Question number 4, you won't conform. You said you did, up in verse 30, but no, you really don't. You really don't. Which one of you convicts me of sin? Is there any person here at Grace Community Church today that could walk up into the public, in the public square, and say, I can't be convicted of any sin? Because that's what Jesus was claiming. Who talks like that? Again, Lord, liar, or lunatic? Whoever is of God hears the words of God. The reason why you do not hear them is because you are not of God. The Jews answered him, are we not right in saying that you are Samaritan? Let's change the subject again. And have a demon. Jesus answered, I do not have a demon, but I honor my Father, and you dishonor me. Yet I do not seek my own glory. There is one who seeks it, and he is the judge. Truly, truly, what is really, really, really real, I say to you, if anyone keeps my word, that's the 4th time, if anyone keeps my word, he will never see death. And Jesus is not talking about avoiding physical death. He's talking about being punished for your sins forever. He's talking about a spiritual death. You want to know what's really real? There is a spiritual death coming. The Jews said to him, now we know that you have a demon. Abraham died, as did the prophets. Yet you say, if anyone keeps my word, he will never taste death. Are you greater than our father, Abraham, who died? And the prophets died? Who do you make yourself out to be? And that's the second time. Who in the world are you? And the world does that to Jesus to this day. Who are you? When Jesus, the man, the God-man Jesus, is rightly proclaimed, the world responds to this day. Who in the world are you? Who do you make yourself out to be? Jesus answered, if I glorify myself, if I make much of myself on my own authority, my glory is nothing. It is my Father who is doing this. My Father is glorifying me, of whom you say he is our God. But you have not known him. I know him. If I were to say that I do not know him, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him, and I keep his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced that he would see my day. Now that's a strange thing to say. We're more than 2,000 years ago. And Abraham did rejoice to see Jesus' day. How so? You look back to Genesis chapter 12 and read it all the way through chapter 22, and here it is. Here's how Abraham, the father of Isaac and Jacob, was looking forward to see this day, of which Jesus said he was glad to see my day. Because Abraham understood one thing, that God is a merciful God, and that there is a substitute that God is one day going to truly provide, a real substitute. Not just a ram caught in a thicket, but a real substitute is coming one day. Don't worry, Isaac. The Lord will provide. Jehovah Jireh. Abraham was looking forward to the day that Jesus would come. Finally, the perfect, spotless sacrifice, the Lamb of God, And Jesus says, Abraham's always been looking forward to me, to this day. And their response, so the Jews said to him, you are not yet 50 years old, and have you seen Abraham? Jesus said to them, I'll tell you what is really, really, really real. I say to you, before Abraham was, I am. I've always been. I've never had a beginning. I invoke the very Hebrew language and words that my father spoke to Abraham and spoke to Moses on the mountain. Go tell them that I am has sent you. In other words, nothing outside of me determines me. I am short because of my mom. I got blue eyes because of my dad. I talk and all kinds of other weird things because of my dad. So much about me is because of my dad. In other words, things outside of me. The way I talk. I dropped Southern slang. I used to talk like this all the time, and I'll tell you what, it was really getting boring. I dropped that. I'm from West Virginia. Brian Chappell told me in seminary, you keep talking like that and no one's going to believe you. He was dead serious. But nothing determines who Jesus is. Nothing determines who God is. They weren't born. They've always been. They are who they are. That's it. They know what this meant to claim this title. Their response shows that they know what it meant. So they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jesus hid himself and went out of the temple. Are you enslaved to a false narrative, a false worldview, a false reality, and you don't even know it? I'll tell you how you can know it. Two things. Do you love Jesus, and do you love his word? Did you just do the right thing at one time because it was what you were supposed to do, and then you got up and went on your merry way? Who is Jesus? According to this passage, especially verses 46 and 47, he is the sinless God-man who speaks the truth about reality. When the Pharisees said, are we not right that you're a Samaritan and you've got a demon? You see, everyone's a philosopher, interpreting what is right and what is not. Jesus is the great I am. Ivan, I thought you were going to preach about the resurrection. Well, this is what the Lord gave me. This is my 26th Easter season of preaching Easter messages. And the Lord just laid it on my heart. Tell them who I am. Come Easter morning, tell them who I am. Jesus said, follow me, as Holly quoted. Jesus said, follow me. All of the other philosophers of the world, like Buddha, Confucius, Socrates, Muhammad, I don't care who you pick, a truck driving buddy, George Orwell, they have all, in one sense, said, follow my teaching. But Christ said, follow me. Do you hear the difference? Follow me. They have all said in one way or another, I teach the way. But Jesus said, I am the way. All the philosophers of the world, in one way or another, have all proclaimed, I teach some truths. But Jesus said, I am the truth. All the philosophers of the world, in one way or another, have all proclaimed, listen to me, and I can lead you to some real, satisfying life. I can show you even how to have your best life now. But Jesus said, I am the life. Hear the difference from the greatest philosopher that has ever walked this earth? And the reason why is because he's not just a man like you and me. He is the God-man. He is the Son of Man. He is the Son of God. And he laid his body down and raised it up again to put a stamp of approval on all that he said and all that he did. Jesus is the greatest philosopher who ever lived, died, and rose again because he is the only man who is fully God at the same time. It is no wonder then that his words are superior to all the ideas that man has ever offered. What will you do with Jesus? C.S. Lewis, world-renowned, brilliant philosopher, professor, came to know the Lord while teaching at Oxford, and then wrote a book called Mere Christianity. Quote, I'm trying here to prevent anyone saying the really foolish thing that people often say about him. I'm ready to accept Jesus as a great moral teacher, but I don't accept his claim to be God. That is the one thing we must not say. A man who was merely a man and said the sort of things Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be a lunatic on the level with the man who says he's a poached egg, or else he would be the devil of hell. You must make your choice. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else a madman or something worse. You can shut him up for a fool, you can spit at him and kill him as a demon, or you can fall at his feet and call him Lord and God. But let us not come with any patronizing nonsense about his being a great human teacher. He has not left that open to us. He did not intend to. What will you do with this man called Jesus of Nazareth? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, it would have been just of you, after I faked my conversion, to never, ever, ever show me in my heart what is truly, truly, really, really real about who Jesus is and my need to be saved from the consequences of my sin. So I praise you and I thank you for your mercy. Lord, we would ask that you would continue to be merciful. May this day be the last day that anyone in here hears the words of Jesus and walks away to find another philosopher. Now, may I speak personally to you? If you do, you will find another philosopher. Satan's got 1,000 other lookalikes, wannabe saviors of the world who proclaim to offer a way, a truth, a life. But it's a lie. Heavenly Father, may the lie stop here this day. That there is no other way, there is no other truth, there is no other life. This is the truth. No man, John 14:6, comes to the Father except through me. says Jesus. To him belong all the glory. In Christ's name we pray.